Let me start with a simple question. What if I told you there is a company that helps governments catch criminals, helps hospitals save lives, and helps companies make billions of dollars, all without making phones, cars, or apps you download? Sounds confusing, right? Don't worry. Today, I'm going to explain Palantir Technologies so simply that even a 5-year-old could understand it. Think of the world as being full of information, numbers, reports, files, maps, and records everywhere. For most people and companies, this information is messy, confusing, and overwhelming. Palantir's job is very simple. It takes this messy information and turns it into something clean, clear, and useful. In short, Palantir helps people understand data so they can make smarter decisions. Imagine your room is filled with thousands of toys scattered all over the floor. You don't know which toy is broken, which one is important, or which one you need right now. Palantir is like the smartest helper who walks in, organizes every toy, and tells you this one matters, this one is dangerous, and this one can help you win. That's exactly what Palantir does with data. Palantir has special software for different jobs. One helps governments and security agencies find threats and keep people safe. Another helps companies run factories, manage supply chains, and save money. More recently, Palantir added artificial intelligence, which works like a powerful assistant, not replacing humans, but helping them make faster and better decisions. Now here's why Palantir is so important in finance and investing. Governments trust it with sensitive data. Big companies pay long-term contracts to use it. And once Palantir's software is deeply connected to an organization, it's very hard to replace. This creates strong, stable revenue, something investors care deeply about. Unlike many tech companies that chase trends, Palantir focuses on real-world problems: security, health, logistics, and decision-making. In a world where data is growing faster than humans can understand, Palantir becomes more valuable every single year. Let me reframe how you think about Palantir, because this is where most people get it wrong. Palantir is not a tech company chasing attention, gadgets, or consumer hype. It is a decision-making company built for people who control money, power, and outcomes. While others sell products, Palantir sells clarity. It takes raw, chaotic data, the kind that overwhelms executives, governments, and institutions, and turns it into intelligence that drives action. This is not about dashboards or pretty charts. This is about knowing what to do next when the cost of a wrong decision is measured in millions, sometimes billions. Real wealth is built by those who see patterns before others do, and Palantir positions itself exactly there. Its software sits at the core of operations, influencing supply chains, national security, healthcare systems, and corporate strategy. That's why customers don't treat Palantir like an expense, they treat it like infrastructure. Once you rely on better thinking, you don't go back to guessing. This is elite-level money logic. Invest in systems that improve judgment, reduce uncertainty, and compound advantage over time. Palantir doesn't promise growth through noise. It delivers leverage through discipline, precision, and superior decision-making. And that is how serious capital thinks. Most people misunderstand revenue because they chase size instead of quality. Palantir operates on the opposite philosophy. Its government revenue is built on long-term contracts where trust, security, and reliability matter more than price, and that changes everything. Governments do not experiment with their core systems. They commit, they embed, and they stay. That creates predictable cash flow, deep institutional dependence, and a level of stability most companies can only dream of. On the commercial side, Palantir applies the same discipline to enterprises that think like owners, not gamblers. These are companies willing to pay for better decisions because they understand that one intelligent move can outweigh years of cost cutting. This dual revenue structure is not diversification for comfort, it is diversification for dominance. When public sector spending slows, commercial adoption accelerates. When enterprises hesitate, government contracts anchor the business. That balance reflects mature capital thinking. Wealth is not built by chasing fast money. It is built by stacking durable income streams that reinforce each other. Palantir's revenue mix mirrors how serious investors manage their own money. Stable foundations first, growth layered on top. This is not volatility-driven growth, it is controlled expansion designed to survive cycles, pressure, and uncertainty while quietly compounding power. Let's talk about power, because that's what a true competitive moat really is. Palantir does not compete on price, marketing, or trends. It competes on entrenchment. Once its software is woven into the daily decision-making of an organization, it becomes part of how leaders think, not just what tools they use. Data flows, workflows, risk models, and operational logic start running through Palantir systems. And at that point, replacing it isn't a technical decision, it's a strategic risk. Serious institutions don't rip out the brain of their operation to save a little money. This is the same mindset disciplined investors use when they choose assets that are hard to replace and easy to rely on. Palantir's moat is built on switching costs, trust, and institutional memory. Every year a customer stays, the system becomes smarter, more customized, and more deeply embedded. That creates psychological ownership, not just contractual lock-in. Wealth compounds when friction protects your position, and Palantir has engineered friction into its value. Competitors may offer alternatives, but alternatives don't replace certainty. When decision-making becomes clearer, faster, and safer, walking away feels irresponsible. That's not luck, that's deliberate design. AI is where hype ends and discipline begins, and this is exactly where Palantir separates itself from the crowd. While most companies talk about artificial intelligence as a future promise, Palantir deploys it as a present weapon for decision-makers who cannot afford mistakes. Its AI platform is not built to entertain curiosity, it is built to compress time, reduce uncertainty, and force clarity under pressure. This is AI designed for people who sign billion-dollar contracts, manage national security, and control complex operations. The mindset shift here is critical. Palantir's AI doesn't replace human judgment, it upgrades it. It acts like a high-level advisor that never gets tired, never panics, and never ignores the data. In real money terms, this means fewer bad decisions, faster execution, and compounding operational advantage. Wealth psychology teaches us that the biggest losses don't come from lack of opportunity, they come from poor judgment at critical moments. Palantir's AI platform is engineered to protect against exactly that. As organizations integrate AI directly into how decisions are made, not just how reports are generated, Palantir becomes more than software. It becomes a force multiplier. Growth driven by intelligence is always more durable than growth driven by noise, and Palantir is building its future on that truth. This is where real business discipline shows up, not in flashy revenue numbers, but in how efficiently value turns into profit. Palantir operates with the economics serious investors look for but rarely find: high margins, low marginal costs, and scalability that strengthens with size rather than weakens. Once the software is built and deployed, adding a new customer does not require rebuilding the engine, it simply extends its reach. That is how elite businesses compound. The cost structure stays controlled while revenue expands, and that gap is where profit lives. This is real-world money logic, the same logic high net worth individuals apply when they choose assets that earn more without demanding more effort. Palantir's model rewards patience and discipline because profitability improves as adoption deepens, not as spending explodes. Every additional contract leverages the same intellectual infrastructure, increasing returns without increasing complexity. This creates operating leverage that most companies never achieve. Wealth psychology teaches that freedom comes from systems that scale without draining energy, and Palantir is built exactly that way. It is not dependent on constant reinvention or endless marketing spend. It is designed to grow stronger, leaner, and more profitable as its footprint expands. Long-term relevance is not built on trends. It is built on inevitability, and Palantir operates in domains that the world cannot step away from. Data will only grow, artificial intelligence will only deepen, and national security will only become more complex. That reality reshapes how power, money, and strategy are managed. Palantir sits at the intersection of all three, serving institutions that think in decades, not quarters. This is the mindset of enduring wealth. Position yourself where demand is structural, not optional. Governments cannot abandon intelligence systems, corporations cannot ignore operational efficiency, and decision makers cannot return to intuition once precision becomes available. Palantir's relevance is reinforced every time uncertainty rises, because uncertainty increases the value of clarity. From a capital perspective, this is the same logic disciplined investors use when allocating to assets that benefit from stress rather than fear it. Volatility doesn't weaken Palantir's role, it strengthens it. As data becomes more central to sovereignty, competition, and survival, Palantir transitions from a software provider into strategic infrastructure, and infrastructure is where lasting power lives. This is not about chasing upside. It is about owning a position that grows more essential as the world becomes more complex, faster, and less forgiving. So, explained like you're 5, Palantir Technologies is simply this: a very smart helper that takes confusing information and turns it into clear answers for the people running the world. And explained like an investor, Palantir is a company betting on one powerful idea, that the future belongs to those who understand their data best. Thank you.